Today we're gonna look at how to do something like this. We're gonna look at how to do something like this and turn it to this. So let's start. We've already learned in our previous discussions that designing in Word, most at times the menu uses insert. The most menu we'll be using is insert. The menu we'll be using mostly will be the insert menu and home. So without wasting much time, let's see how to do this and then how to turn it to this. First of all, you see these are shapes. You draw those shapes before you write the text on them. So let's start. You go to insert. We have a rectangle here. We're going to draw that rectangle. We're going to kind of draw it. So draw something like this. You don't really want it to be the same size. You can put it on it and then try to make it look more like it. Yeah, so we can shift it to get okay. So I can still reduce. You can use the arrow keys plus shift to reduce the size. You can do that. I've told you severally that you can do that. So after drawing our shape, we'll go and fill it. We see that it's black. The fill is black. The outline too is black. So we come shape fill, make it black. Shape outline, make it also black. Okay, so now we have our rectangle. We can see some line down here. So we're gonna draw that line. Come back to insert shapes. Then you click on the line. You see how I placed the mouse. When you click on one of the shapes, you see that the mouse pointer will tend to it's going to tend to a cross sign. So that cross there above, you see that I've placed it just at the edge, the beginning edge or the beginning point of the rectangle. So if you want to have a definite shape or if you want the line to be in line with it, that's how you have to place your mouse pointer. So I'm going to place it like that and draw. While drawing, if you want a straight line, you can hold shift. It will give you a straight line. Okay, so we have something like this. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna change the outline. I hope you know lines doesn't have fill. It's just outline. It's just the outline. You don't have fill to line. So we're gonna make it black. Then we're gonna increase the weight. We're gonna increase the size of it. Let's say something like this would do. I'll move it down small. So we have a rectangle. Then we also have the line. We have the line beneath it. So we're gonna draw the other shapes and then write the text. So what we're gonna do is as you're altering your line, you can okay. When you're doing something it doesn't work the way you want, just undo it and then hold shift before you try moving it. Okay, I have it. Yeah, it's not yet done well. Okay, so when you are increasing the size, it doesn't want to go. You can hold a control shift, then you press the right key, the right arrow key, press it to make it a little bit lengthy for you. So I can now come and try and see if I can alter this place small. Yeah, I see that I can do that. So now we have our line, then we have we also have our shape. That's our rectangle. We have our two shapes. Now we see some shape down here. Now that shape, you can draw it in many different ways. You can come out with that shape in many different ways. We could draw something like this. I'm just going to illustrate how to get that shape. You can draw something like this. Then you hold control, press on it, and drag. That's copy. You can shift it on top small, and then you can draw another rectangle on it. You can draw another rectangle on it like this. It's gonna look like magic. It's not any magic. Just kind of playing with it. So see, we have it. Now what we're gonna do is just to change the color. That's all we have to do. So we're gonna come change the fill to black and the outline to black. So you see that we have that shape. We have the shape there. We have it. So you can have it in many different ways. I'm just gonna delete and then show another way to get it. You can come to insert shapes. You pick your rectangle. You draw. Let's say this is the rectangle we want. So you draw it like this. You kind of move it top small. Then you change the fill and then the outline to be black. You change it to black. You get you can draw. You see this? You can draw a line. You can draw a line. So you're gonna draw a line. You're gonna draw a line like this. Because we wanted to possess both lines here, and then here to possess the same length, we're going to just copy the first one we drew and then paste it. After pasting it, we'll select the other one. We'll select the other line we drew. I mean the initial line we drew. We're going to select it. Now you see that selecting tiny things on it is not a simple job to do. So the mouse pointer has to be on it. So after selecting, we're gonna align them. We're gonna align them to middle. We're gonna align them to middle. So see, you see, it's in line. It's all in line. So after aligning them in middle, we're gonna kind of move it top small to the position we want it to be. After that, we press escape to deselect it. I mean to deselect them. So you select the first one, then you move it to the other side. Mind you, your pointer has to be on the line before you would be able to select it. So I'm gonna move it. I'm just gonna move it like this. I'm using the arrow keys. It's good you use the arrow keys to move your objects when designing with Word. But if you need to have a definite alignment, you have to use it. Else you run out of alignment. Okay, so we kind of reselect it and then move it small. So we can. That's it. We have it. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna select. We're gonna select those two lines. We're gonna select them. We're gonna select them like this. Now we're gonna edit them. We're gonna edit them. We're gonna change the outline to white. Then we'll increase the weight, increase the size. Something well like this would do. It'll do. So we're gonna increase the size small. I mean the length. We're gonna increase it small. We're gonna increase it. Whoa, I was moving it. So note control and the arrow keys would move it. I mean would move it in a little margin. I mean in a small margin. So hold shift, then you press the right arrow key to increase it small. So after increasing it, we have to move them back. we have to move them back to count now. Okay, so I'm gonna just do that. Number of counts you move, the other one you have to apply same thing to the other side. So now we have our shape. What's left to do is to see, we still have a spot here. You see that dot, this dot, we're gonna draw it. Let's go to insert, to shapes. You pick your circular or the circle. Now we're gonna draw something like this. Move it down small. Then we're gonna change the outline. We're gonna change the outline to white. Change it to white. Then we're gonna change the fill to white. You see. So move it up small. Hold there. See, we have the spot. We have it. Now we have it. So what we're gonna do is after drawing your shapes, make sure you group them together. Group them. When you group your shapes together, they will become one object. They will become one object. Okay. So you group them together. Come to Format menu. Then you go to Group under the Arrange compartment. Then you group them together. So you see they are now one object. I can move them together. Move them together. You kind of group them together, or you group them together so you'd have no mistakes in the alignments. They wouldn't shift. I mean, they wouldn't just shift. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy. Let's not copy now. Let's finish all the formatting before we copy. Now we're gonna write the text. That's what's left to do. We're gonna go to Insert. We're gonna go to Shapes. We can pick text box or we can pick word art. Any of it would do. But let's use a text box. We're gonna write. Okay, we're gonna write Waytech. Then we'll add the society. Okay, so we see that the way is having a different color and the tech is having a different color, but look at them well. They're having the same. They are having the same outline in the same size. So we're gonna come here and make them the same size. Let's say we're gonna pick the weather style in the middle here. So after picking it, we increase the whole thing, the size of the whole thing. We're gonna increase it. Come back to home. So this is our first time of visiting the home menu. So we increase it. Increase it. Okay, this would do. I think this would be okay. Or we should increase it a little bit more. You can align it to center. That would do good. So we align it to center. You see the shape fill, the text box is having a shape fill, and it's having an outline. So we're going to remove all of it. If you want to see as to whether it's really having a shape fill or outline, you have to move it to a different color, you see, because it is black. But as you leave it here, you wouldn't notice that it's having fill. It's only the outline that you can know that it's having, you see. So we're gonna move it here, then we'll now change, we'll remove the fill and then we'll remove the outline. We're gonna do no fill and we're gonna do no outline. So we see that the society is gone because it's black. It's not just gone, it's there because the background or the shape behind it is black. That's why it's kind of hidden. So we're gonna select it. We're kind of gonna select it. When you select it, you would not notice that it's been selected. Then we'll come and change. This is the style we use for it. We're gonna pick it. So we're now gonna come here and change. We're gonna bolden this. We're gonna bolden the text. We're gonna bolden it. We're gonna make it bold. And we're gonna, after making it bold, we're gonna change the color of the way. We're gonna change it. We're gonna change it. Now you can change it here. You go to text fill, make it red. Align to make it red. Now we have our text way And then now we have our tech. You see, we have in our Waytech. We want to look more like it. You can do that. I hope yours would look better than mine. Uh, so we have our way tech society. Now we're gonna write the motto here. What starts here changes the world. We're gonna write it there. We're gonna come back to insert. Now let's use the word at. Pick the first one there. Alt. Then we're gonna write what starts here. Okay, it changes the world. We have our what starts here changes the world. Now we notice that it's blue, so we're gonna change select it, then we change it to blue, something like this. Then we're gonna reduce the size. We're gonna reduce the size. Now notice one thing: when you're using a text box or you're using word arts, you see that the shape or the text box itself, as you're moving the box or you're enlarging, you're resizing in the box, it doesn't resize along the text. The text doesn't go along with it. Now you can make it go along with it. You can make the text flow with the shape, such that when you increase the size of the shape, the text increases. The size of the text will increase, and when you reduce the size of the text, it also reduces. So you see, and you can see the text is hanging. It's kind of hanging. It's kind of hanging. It's not in the middle. You can also make it in the middle. So let's first do that. You come to home. Now you come here. You remove space after what paragraph. It'll come to the middle. You see that now it's in the middle. It's in the middle of the text box. So what we're left to do is to make it now move with the text box. As we increase the text box or resize the text box, the text itself will resize alongside with the text box. So let's come to formats. This is how we do it. You come to text effects, then you click on it, then you go to transform, pick the first one. Now as you move the text box, you see that it will be going with it will be increasing with the text. See it? You see it? Okay, so now we're gonna reduce the size small. We're gonna still reduce it small. Kind of gonna reduce it small. We're gonna move it down here. Reduce it. And move it. Reduce. And move it. So we can still reduce it. We can then reduce it small. Okay, so we have our logo. You see how amazing it is to use word in design. It is very simple. It's not that difficult, and it's easy to use in doing designs. Well, I love using it. You see, we done. So we just all we have to do is to group the text with the. So you hold control as you select. Hold control as you select multiple shapes or multiple characters on the interface. So after selecting them, we're going to group them together. I'll come back to group and then group them again. So now the text will be grouped with the shapes that we do, so we can move them all together. You see, we can move them together. Okay, so our line, we can still make it look more nice. Okay, now we're having a good line. So we can kind of copy this and then paste it down here so that I would apply the other effects on it. So we're gonna hold control and place the mouse pointer around the objects you want to copy till it gives you the pointer with the plus sign. Then you click and drag small smoothly. You see, we have a duplicate of it. So now we're gonna apply these designs on it to kind of make it look like that one. Okay, that's why I like using the arrow keys in moving my objects. Notice something: when you group objects, you can still edit them differently, I mean individually. So when you're selecting, make sure you select the whole thing that you've grouped together. You don't select individual objects like this. You try alt, it won't alt the whole shape, it'll be alting the individual character you selected. So now let's apply these effects to it. It's just some simple thing to do. Let's come to shapes. Then we're gonna pick our rectangle, the rounded rectangle. We're gonna come draw it. So now it's having a fill. Draw it. Okay. Okay. Now when you draw it, it's gonna come with a fill. You see, so it will cover the shape or your logo. Now what you have to do is you remove the fill. You unfill it. So just come to shape fill and then you go to no fill. See it, then we're gonna change the color to of the outline to black. We're gonna change it to black and kind of increase the weight. You can increase the weight small, so we can come to the weight and increase it. Oh, this one look much better, though it's not the same size. This is the size, but let's use this one. It's looking good. So after having this, now we're gonna draw our stars. You come back to the insert, go back to the shapes. We have our stars down here, so you can pick the normal star. That's a 5-pointed star. You're gonna come and draw. You're gonna draw. If you want, you can draw this one first. See that this one is on the line, so you draw, you change it to black entirely, change everything to black. You can come to the, okay, to changing it to black, it's gonna look, let's come to the teams and then see which one to pick. Okay, no. So let's get something more like it. I'm gonna look for something more like it. It's kind of more like it, but okay, let's see. Now we're gonna change the outline. We're gonna change it to black. We're gonna change the fill to black. Oh, we're having the same thing. So you can add effects to it. Shape effects. You can come here and kind of add some effects to it. No, we're not gonna add bevel to it. Let's see. Question. See, you can give it, you can make it look much better than the original logo self. So let's see, taking this one will go, it'll do good. So what we're gonna do next is we're just gonna duplicate it. Remove one here, it's kind of in the middle, and remove another one. The two is selected, so just delete one, select one and delete, because we have three stars there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna increase this one, increase it small. So, okay, now you see that one of the arms of the stars is touching the other one, so we're gonna move it small. Hold control and press the left side arrow key. We're gonna move this one with the arrow key straight, then we'll go and get close to it. We now hold the control and move small, so it's not you're touching it. You can also move it down, move it. Okay, So now we have it, we done. You see, this is how to do something like that. It's very simple. Now what we have to do is to group them together so that we don't have them moving the outline kind of shifting. Okay, now just select this one, then select 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 all stars, then we'll group them together, and then we'll have our logo being done. So we'll group them together, group them. So now you see, if you move them, they all move together. It's not gonna look like some is moving and some is not moving. It's gonna move together. So you see, you can move them together since this group together. You can move them freely without it moving, leaving others. So now that we're done with designs, how do we save? We can save it as a Word document to continue later, or to add effects to it later by coming to File, we go to Save As. We browse through the location, we browse the location we want to save it. Well, I'll prefer documents. It's where I save most of my things, so I'm just gonna say Waytech logo. So, and I'll save it. You can as well as save it as PDF, save it in, the only thing is that you can't save it as a picture. You can save it in a picture format. There's a way to do it, but you can use Word itself to save it as a picture. I hope in future updates they would add saving logos and saving objects as pictures on the Word platform. Well, you cannot save it as a picture here, but you can save it as a picture on PowerPoint. When we get to PowerPoint, you get to see how to save it as a picture and all those things. So don't worry, just save it as Word document for the meantime. So after saving it, we might need it in a picture format. You can come to your start menu or your window menu, then you start typing snipping tool, snipping. It'll come. So you click on it, then you click on new. Just if you want only the object, you can since it's a rectangle, you can select only the object, and then you save it as a picture. Yo, we have, now we're gonna click on this. You see that this gets, you're gonna click on it, save logo. So we're gonna click on the save. We're gonna, it'll browse for us to save, so we're gonna save it Waytech logo. So now we have different formats here as well. You can change the save as type. See GIF, JPEG, single file. I prefer the portable network graphic file. The PNG is good for saving logos. Most of logos are in PNG formats. Then later we can convert it to icon or whatever we want to use it for. So you can save it PNG. You can also save it. Okay, you could have also save it as JPEG.